All right, we're going to be doing test out PC Pro 3.3.7, choosing and installing a motherboard. We are currently working in a repair shop and we need to build a new system for a customer who wants the following features. We want to have a PCIe 16 slot for their video card, support for an M.2 storage, 64-bit processor, dual channel memory, and up to 64 gigabytes of memory. So that means we're going to have 4 slots for memory. Each one of those can have 16 gigs, but the board set has to support that. So in this scenario, we chose the motherboard socket 1151. So let's look at the details. We're going to click on details under that board and go under specifications. Then we have the layout of the board and all the components that are associated with this board. Right now I can tell we definitely have an M.2 socket, so that suffices the features that were requested from the customer. We have a PCI 16 slot, so that suffices. All right, fantastic. We're going to go down and look at our memory a little bit. We can have 4 slots and it's going to be dual channel. Look at that. Oh man, this is even better. This is another one checked off. All right, so that should be good. Okay, cool. So we've got everything we need, the specs that the customer has requested. Now it is time for us to connect the case to the motherboard. So we're going to click on the case. Now we have all the pins, individual pins, to connect to the components of the motherboard. So if we don't know where they are, we can always look at the manufacturer's website, or they usually send you a how-to or a guide in the box. So now we can identify each of one of these components. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to first connect all of the lights, the power button, the speakers, to the board. So where is the panel? If we look up here, number 13, the system panel connectors, 13 right here in the corner. So right here. So we're going to zoom in a lot on this, and of course as we're zooming in, you will notice, you will start to see some of the names and some of the, it starts identifying what each one of them are. And if we zoomed in really close, we could see that in more detail, but not for this lab. Try it in real life. All right, so here we go. We've got our guide, we've got our connector. We're going to plug in the power switch to the motherboard. So the power switch, I can see that it is connected on the 2 pins here at the top. So we're going to go pins, well, bam, there we go. Now we need to connect the power LED. So the power LED, all right, so we have power LED connectors here and here. So this one we're going to plug in here. Now we're going to plug in the hard drive. And now we're going to connect the speakers. Speakers are going to go to the last 4. Okay. So I think that's everything that on the panel that needs to be plugged in. So now we just plug in some fans. So I know that the exit fan or the rear fan should plug in here. I can actually see that, it's written right there. And I'm not quite sure where the other fan goes, but you know what? I've got my manual with me. So we're going to scroll up and look for the fans, which would be number 4. All right, so 4 here, got that one. And 4 here. Okay, so going to plug in the fan here. Done. All right, so next, what do we have on the list? We've got a USB connector. So USB 2.0, and we have USB 2.0 connectors here. All right, so we're going to connect the USB 2.0, number 14. Number 14 is right there. All right, so we actually have 2, but we're going to just plug in 1. So right here, So I'm going to grab this, plug it in right here, number 14. Fantastic. Now, let's look. We've got an audio connector, so let's see. That will be 18. Okay, there it was right there. 18 front panel audio connector. All right, so it's all the way, it's the last one here. So plug in this guy here, and now we have a USB 3.0, 3.1, here we go, perfect. Okay, number 9. Number 9 is right here. Plugging in right next to number 4, which is going to be our rear fan. So we're going to plug that in here. All right, so we got all of those. All of those are connected. I don't have any saying they're not connected. Okay, so I think we're done there. So let's look now at our power supply. Okay, so next, here we go, power supply. So all it wants us to do is plug in the CPU power and the main board. However, in whatever order you want to do that in. So to get to that, I'm just gonna click on the power supply. I'm gonna grab my 2024 pin connector, and I'm just gonna plug it in right here, not in the RAM slots, right here. All right, so now we're either gonna have a 4, 6, or 8 pin power connector. So we got an 8 pin here on this power supply, and that goes right there. Again, if we didn't know, we would just look at the board or at the manual and figure out where it goes. Now we need none of these other connections because those go to graphics cards for powers. That goes to old floppy drive, and we got our SATA connections for other hard drives or other ROM drives, CD-ROM drives, DVD-ROM drives if need be. All right, so looks good. So let us check our answers. Check answers. Oh, well, bam, we got 100%. Score Lab. We did it successfully. We chose a motherboard based on the specs that were given to us. We connected all the case connectors to the board based on the pin location, working off of the manual or the diagram of the board for those components, plugged in the power supply. Success. We are done with this lab. So join me for the next lab.